Assalamu alaikum students. Today we will be talking about group behavior, and that is the lecture 39 in social psychology. In the previous lecture we talked about pro-social behavior. I would like to have a review first on pro-social behavior and what we did in the last lecture, and then we will be talking about group behavior. In the previous lecture we elaborated on bystander intervention model that was presented by Latané and Darley. And we talked about two psychological processes that according to these two social psychologists can in fact prevent helping at different stages of that model. And these were the first two stages. First thing they talk about the audience inhibition effect. आपको याद होगा कि audience inhibition effect से क्या मुराद है? Audience inhibition effect से ये मुराद है कि when we are with other people, and in some situation when other people are present with us, then we are thinking as in the pattern of other people's behavior. तो हम बाज़-औक़ात जो हमारा response होता है that is determined by other people's presence. So in that reference we talked about two things. One was information and the other was about normative influence. As far as information is concerned, it was taken from conformity research and experiments on sheriffs. So evidence जो sheriff के experiment से हमें मिलता है वो ये है कि when there is a situation which is ambiguous, so usually people take and explain social reality on the basis of responses that has been created by other people. And then in that circumstance, in these circumstances what happens that it is taken as a very valuable heuristic, that we are not clear about the situation. For example, ये जो current topic है उसकी रोशनी में बात करेंगे कि we are not aware and we are not very sure that whether we should be providing help or not, and whether it should really be perceived as an emergency or not. In that situation we explain and the situation, and we our behavior is determined by the responses of other people. And as far as audience and normative influence is concerned, इसके बारे में ज़्यादा रिसर्च जो है वो हमने हवाला दिया था ऐश के एक्सपेरिमेंट का, that when we are among other people then we are scared that if we behaved in a different way which is not a perceived norm or which is not a social norm, then we will be evaluated negatively by the public. तो इस वजह से बाज़-औक़ात हम हेल्प जो है वो लोगों को नहीं दे पाते. And the second factor which is important in the decision of providing help to somebody is a diffusion of responsibility. Then when we are among other people and when there are several people present in the same scenario, then we think that maybe it's not only my responsibility, and if I do not provide help तो कोई और शख्स जो है वो help provide कर देगा. And that is why sometimes we are unable to act properly in an emergency situation. अब ये जो डार्ले और लेटने का जो मॉडल है that explains the social reasons of non-intervention, that why we are not providing help to somebody who is in emergency. लेकिन ये explain नहीं करता कि then why do people help? So that was explained and extended actually was by Pliven et al. In 1981. Pliven and colleagues talk about different factors that are responsible in providing help to somebody, and they say that actually it is emotional arousal that is created when we see somebody in emergency, and when we are emotionally aroused, this is an uncomfortable state. और uncomfort जो है उसको कैसे दूर किया जाता है? By providing help to somebody. But then it's a cost and reward analysis. If the cost is high in providing help to somebody, then people usually do not decide to help. अगर cost help की और ना help देने की दोनों low हैं, तो then usually the direct action is taken. इसके बरक्स अगर ये हो कि कॉस्ट दोनों की हाई है, देन द डिसीजन इज़ डिफ़िकल्ट, बिकॉज अगर आप किसी की हेल्प करते हैं तब भी ख़तरा है, नहीं हेल्प करते तब भी ख़तरा है. देन इन दिस काइंड ऑफ सिचुएशन पीपल यूजुअली टेक टू कोर्स ऑफ एक्शन. One is that you provide indirect help, and the second is that you ignore the situation, you flee from the situation, and you reinterpret the situation by satisfying yourself that it really is not an emergency. ये एक explanation हो सकती है. And the second explanation is perhaps the victim was actually deserving that kind of treatment. And the third is that somebody else will come and provide help to the victim, and that is why by having this reward and cost analysis, we decide whether we should provide help to the victim or not. और उसके बरक्स अगर ये हो कि cost of providing help for the person who is providing help is low and the cost is high for that person whom we are going to help, then usually फिर भी बहुत आसान हो जाता है, because आपको कोई ख़तरा नहीं है तो आप जल्दी से उसकी help करने को तैयार हो जाते हैं. And then we talked about that what are the factors present in a person which induce them to help. और उस ज़मन में हमने ये बात की थी कि positive and negative affects are important. If people are in a positive mood, then usually they are more inclined to help other people. इसके बरक्स अगर a person is having a negative mood, तो फिर there are less chances that that person will be providing help to a person who is in emergency. So what is in the positive mood that induces somebody to render help to someone in emergency? There are several possibilities in this reference. One is that when people are in positive mood, they want to maintain that good mood. And second thing is, when people are in good mood, they are able to perceive the people and environment in a more favorable way, and they think that people are honest, good, so they should be helped. Another reason is that they are thinking more about the rewarding aspect of help. And the fourth reason is that when you provide help to somebody, then your good mood is maintained and you think that you have done a good work. So there are several explanations, और ये बहुत सारी incidents में, बहुत सारे experiments में prove हो चुका है. Several researchers have shown that when you are in good mood, for example, after listening good music, after seeing a comedy, in good weather, then you are more inclined to help other people. लेकिन उसके बरक्स कुछ और studies भी हैं जो ये show करती हैं कि when people are in a negative mood, still they are more inclined to help. And what could be the reason for that? So these are contradictory to each other. Okay? Basically, this is a good mood or bad mood which make one more prone to help another person. So उसकी जो वजाहत है वो different researches करती हैं, वो ये करती हैं कि फिर आप reward और cost का analysis करते हैं और ये देखते हैं कि अगर जो bad mood है आपका alleviate हो जाएगा और improve हो जाएगा help करने से, तो then you are in a bad mood condition but still you are ready to help another person. ये पिछला जो टॉपिक था, as I said, it was on pro-social behavior, और उसमें एक चीज़ जो है वो पिछले लेक्चर में रह गई थी, and that is the effect of gender on pro-social behavior. Let's discuss that, and then we are going to discuss the today's lecture, and that is group behavior. So the question is, are there any gender differences in pro-social behavior? Generally, studies have shown that men are more likely to help other people. For example, Eagle and Crowley did a meta-analysis of 172 studies in 1986. अब ये देखिए कि ये meta-analysis कितनी ज़्यादा studies का है. So whenever a meta-analysis is conducted with so many studies, so usually it is believed that the findings will be more valid and reliable. So what did they show? They showed that men are more likely to engage in helping that is heroic and chivalrous. ऐसी कंडीशंस जिनमें बहादुरी का मुजाहरा करने की ज़रूरत होती है, men are more inclined to help. And also they showed that men are more inclined to help, one thing, strangers, secondly, when they are females in a problem, and then when there is a situation and the situation is dangerous and Another element is when there is an audience. Situation dangerous है, लोग मौजूद हैं जो देख रहे हैं आपके इस एक्ट को, and the victim is a female and they are strangers. Obviously सारे strangers होते हैं आमतौर पर जब help जो है वो provide की जाती है. So these three things, being female, situation is considered dangerous, and the third thing is that there is an audience. So these are actually unusual circumstances because ये हमेशा नहीं होता कि आपको ऐसी सिचुएशन मिले जिसमें ऑडियंस मौजूद हैं, फिर उसके अलावा जो सिचुएशन डेंजरस है और वो जो विक्टिम है वो भी फीमेल है. लेकिन स्टडीज हैव शोन दैट men are prone to help. So does this mean that women are not likely to help other people while they have been shown to have those kind of characteristics which really go parallel with helping behavior, and what are they? I have mentioned several kinds of studies in my previous lectures that women are considered more empathetic, more affectionate and more caring for others. So why is this so that women are less likely to help other people while they are having these kind of traits which are very consistent with pro-social behavior? So studies have shown that it is not like that women are less likely to help other people. In fact, men and women engage in different kinds of helping behavior. So studies have shown that women are more likely than men to provide social and emotional support to others. And that was shown in a study in 1991 by Shoemaker and Hill. So जब आपने emotional support, वो help की ज़रूरत है तो women are there. Another study which was conducted by Trudeau and Devlin in 1996 that showed that women are more willing to serve as caretakers for children and the elderly. And this is also help, and this is not an unusual situation because that is what is happening and what is required in our daily life. और ये देखा गया है कि these differences in different kinds of help are not found in children, but these differences are more significantly visible, आप ये कह सकते हैं, या they are more significantly different from each other when they are not children, when they are adult. So इसका मतलब ये है कि when there are salient gender roles in the society, जब उनके gender roles define हो जाते हैं तो फिर these differences are there. And what the relation it has to salient gender roles? Obviously women are expected to serve as caretakers, to take care of children, to take care of elderly and to provide emotional support. So because they are believed and expected to play these kind of roles in society, that is why this kind of generating help is created in them with a different kind of socialization which is a part of men. और men जो हैं, they are more inclined to help जबकि दूसरे देखने वाले हैं. It's a kind of competition and showing off. So it is quite explainable कि किस तरह से ये जो हैं ये differences in helps are created in different gender. Now we'll be talking about applied social psychology lab क्योंकि ये एक बड़ा ही important topic है pro-social behavior. और इसके बाद फिर हम आज के lecture की तरफ चलते हैं. The question is that can social psychology knowledge enhances pro-social behavior? So can social psychology knowledge enhance, and does it actually enhance your pro-social behavior? क्या उससे फ़ायदा होता है आपके ये कुछ पढ़ने से, जब आपको पता चलता है कि हम हेल्प क्यों नहीं प्रोवाइड करते, हम किन सर्कमस्टांसेस में हेल्प प्रोवाइड करते हैं? कैन दिस नॉलेज रियली हेल्प अ पर्सन और नॉट? So studies have been conducted by Arthur B. Mann and his colleagues in 1978 which showed that if you learn about the barriers to help, then there is a greater chance that in future you will be providing help to other people. So in that study उन्होंने क्या किया था कि उन्होंने कॉलेज स्टूडेंट्स को, एक ग्रुप को उन्होंने एक लेक्चर सुनने के लिए कहा और वो लेक्चर था अबाउट pro-social behavior and what are the barriers that could encounter people and that could inhibit them from providing help. और दूसरे लेक्चर जो ग्रुप था, that was control group, उनको एक लेक्चर न्यूट्रल टॉपिक पर सुनवाया गया and it was seen that after 3 weeks of this lecture demonstration, 43% of those people who had listened to that lecture about pro-social behavior and the barriers to help, they were more inclined to help those people who were listening to a neutral, who were subjected to listen a neutral topic lecture. और उसमें हेल्प कैसी प्रोवाइड करनी थी कि ये देखा गया कि अगर कोई शख्स जो है वो ज़मीन पे गिरा हुआ है और वो वहाँ से गुजर रहे हैं तो क्या वो उसकी हेल्प करते हैं कि नहीं. सो दिस शोज दैट इफ़ यू हैव अ नॉलेज about the factors which would inhibit helping on the part of human beings, then this knowledge will help you, will make you more aware, and then you will be more likely to help other people. Jane Pelivan stressed the need of knowledge-created awareness of the social dynamics of emergency situations. She indicates that if people are made aware about what could be the barriers and what should be done in emergency situation, then people are more likely to help other people. And she said that it actually has an impact on the students who are studying social psychology, because students actually stated that when they heard about all these theories, uske baad they were more responsive to emergency situations whenever they were encountering them. So actually that was reported by students. So that is a factual information. इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि आपको भी इसके बारे में जैसे अवेयरनेस है, तो आई थिंक इट शुड बी विजिबल इन योर बिहेवियर also, because you have also learned that what stops us from helping other people, for example, presence of other people, and then perceiving whether it is my responsibility or not. So the lesson of pro-social behavior lecture is that you should, and we all should, make people aware of barriers and thus unlock their pro-social tendencies. Now let's start today's lecture, and today's lecture is about group behavior. The first question is, what is a group? Is it an aggregate of people? जैसे कि लोग एक कंप्यूटर लैब में बैठे अपना अपना काम कर रहे हैं या नेट कैफेज में बैठे हुए हैं. Do they comprise a group? The answer is no, they do not comprise a group. They are just aggregate of people because they do not satisfy the definition of a group. And what is the definition of a group? Definition of a group is that two or more people who interact with one another, share common goals, they are somehow interdependent and recognize that they belong to a group would be perceived as a group. तो जो लोग एक दूसरे पर डिपेंड करते हैं, they are interacting with each other, they will be considered a part of a group. As compared to that, जहाँ पर लोग बैठे हुए हैं सिर्फ इकट्ठे, that does not mean that they are fitting to the category of a group, और ग्रुप मेंबरशिप पर वो पूरे नहीं उभरते. ग्रुप जो बिहेवियर है, इस पे काम अब खासा ज़्यादा हो रहा है. It has been seen that in 1977, 4% of all articles on social psychology were actually on group behavior. As compared to that, in 1997, 16% of all articles on social psychology have been about the group behavior. So you can see that researchers are now increasingly becoming very aware of the importance of group behavior. So what we are going to study in group behavior, और इस ये जो lectures हैं जिनका ये जो सारे हम group behavior के ज़िम्मन में पढ़ेंगे, इनमें हम क्या study करेंगे? We will also be looking at the, apart from other factors, we will also be looking at the conditions that make aggregate of people a group. कैसे जो हैं वो लोग who are scattered individuals, they perceive them as belonging to one group. And then we will also be studying that what is the impact of leadership on people and members of the group, और leaders जो हैं वो बनते कैसे हैं. And then we will also be studying that how group change behavior of the members and how group membership would affect the subsequent thinking and behavior of the group members. So the focus of a group is, or a group membership, is on the effects of physically interacting regularly in a work group or a team, etc., and the effect this has on productivity. एक ये भी element जो है वो group की definition में important है कि the group is related with more productivity. When people become a part of one group, then they are more productive. इसी ज़िम्मन में मैं थोड़ा सा जिक्र करना चाहूँगी एक पिछली जो कॉन्सेप्ट है सोशल साइकोलॉजी का जिसका आपने काफ़ी दफ़ा जिक्र सुना है, दैट इज़ सोशल कैटेगराइजेशन. वी कैटेगराइज पीपल इनटू ग्रुप्स, एंड व्हेन वी कैटेगराइज पीपल इनटू ग्रुप्स, देन दे आर आवर ग्रुप and other people's group. And then we also talk about us and them. And these us are a part of our group, और वो जो them हैं, they are not actually part of our group, they belong to some other group. और ये जो social categorization है, उसकी base पर जो है वो productivity जो है वो group की बढ़ जाती है. And you all know that human beings are basically social animals, and through natural selection and evolutionary adaptation, we have learned certain characteristics from our ancestors, and we know that our ancestors used to live in small groups, and that is why it is very logical that most of our interactions will be related with group, and our behavior will be determined by the membership of particular groups. Now we will talk about basic features of any group. There are several features of a group. One of them is social norms. What are social norms? Social norms are shared rules and expectations about how group members should act. When you become a part of a group and group develops social norms, then usually conformity of the members is increased and deviance is reduced. So group members जो हैं उन social norms को चूँकि follow करते हैं, they become alike. And then it is also related with enhancement in performance, और productivity जो है वो बढ़ जाती है because of these working on these social norms, because everybody is aware of these social norms and they are acting accordingly. And then this productivity is enhanced by delivering rewards on good work, efforts and hard work. आपको याद होगी एक शेरिफ की स्टडी थी, रॉबर्ट्स केव एक्सपेरिमेंट, और उसमें आपने देखा था कि अगर इवन ऑन द मिनिमल ग्रुप पैराडाइम, जब उनको सिर्फ एक डिवाइड कर दिया गया ग्रुप्स में और उनको कह दिया गया कि आपका ए ग्रुप है और बी ग्रुप है, तो सून आफ्टर दिस डिवीजन दे एस्टैब्लिश्ड ग्रुप नॉर्म्स, एंड वन ग्रुप स्टार्टेड calling them rattlers and the other said that they should be called by the name of eagles, and then they developed their social norms. So social norms जो हैं वो once a group is established, they automatically are enhanced और बन जाते हैं. Sometimes these social norms जो होते हैं they are written and they provided to the members in a written format, लेकिन बाज़ औक़ात जो है वो through conversation and communication they are communicated, and the way other people behave, we learn these social norms. And the second feature of group is social roles. Social roles are clusters of socially defined expectations that individuals in a given situation are expected to fulfill. अब social roles जो हैं they are sometime evolved by group interaction. खुद ब खुद interaction के नतीजे में बन जाते हैं कि किस शख्स ने कौन सा रोल प्ले करना है और किस शख्स जो है उसने कौन सा रोल और उनके काम क्या होंगे. And sometimes people bring their previous roles into the current role, into the current group membership. पिछले ग्रुप का वो पार्ट होते हैं, वहाँ पे they are enjoying by playing a particular role. तो जब वो नए ग्रुप का पार्ट बनते हैं तो वो वही वाला रोल जो है वो अदा करना चाहते हैं, because they are more satisfied with that, they are more comfortable while playing that role. So it depends on the situation. And then there is social status. That is a very important characteristic of a group. That actually is about the distribution of power among the members, and that refers to social position that is based on prestige and authority. So it has been seen that people who belong to higher status, you can judge that who belongs to higher status and lower status in a group by just looking on their verbal and non-verbal behavior. Usually it has been seen that people who belong to higher group membership are higher, who are enjoying higher prestige in a group, they have a direct gaze while they are communicating, they stand erect, सीधे खड़े होते हैं, and they are more in a position to command others. वो ज़्यादा दूसरों को orders देते हैं और commands देते हैं. Moreover, they speak more, or they are also spoken to more. उनसे लोग ज़्यादा बात भी करते हैं. That can be very visible while you are looking at the interaction of a group, even though you are not told who is having the higher status and who is having the lower status. Another thing is important, that people who are having a higher status in a group, they usually enjoy that and they are respected more. They are more successful, they are more confident, they have high self-esteem also. But at the same time when there is a decision on their part which goes wrong और जिसके नतीजे में ग्रुप की कॉज को कोई नुकसान पहुंचता है, तो those people who are higher in status, they are evaluated more harshly as compared to other people who are lower in status. So there are some problems also associated with having a higher rank in a organization. और इसीलिए आपने देखा होगा कि people who are enjoying the higher status, they are more prone to having stress disorders और उनको heart diseases और hypertension भी ज़्यादा होता है because of the responsibility and the decision making का जो process है, they will be having more problems if everything or something goes wrong. Another feature of group is that group is usually cohesive. So cohesiveness is the characteristic of group which is very important. Cohesiveness refers to forces that cause members to remain in a group. So when it has been said frequently कि जो unity है या cohesiveness है उसकी कितनी importance है और productivity के साथ कितना ताल्लुक है. There is an Ethiopian proverb that when spiders unite, they can tie down a lion. यानी इतना ज़्यादा cohesiveness और unity से फ़र्क पड़ता है कि आप strong हो जाते हैं. So there are some positive factors associated with cohesiveness of a group. What are these positive factors? One is that members like each other. So liking is increased for the members who belong to the same group. And then another factor is the extent to which members act effectively together. तो ज़्यादातर जो काम हैं वो इकट्ठे करते हैं and they are working effectively and that extent is increased of working effectively when group is cohesive. And the third is that the success of group in meeting goals is enhanced. So this is another positive aspect of cohesiveness of group. As compared to that, there are some negative consequences also. And what are they? One is cost of living. When a group is very cohesive, it is very difficult to leave it. अगर कोई leave करने का सोचता है तो that person has very harsh treatment from other members and he is not appreciated. Another factor is that lack of alternatives. Usually when group is cohesive, so all are thinking in the same way. And if there is one person जो कि उससे अलग होकर सोचना चाहता है तो उसके पास अल्टरनेटिव्स नहीं होते. एंड सिमिलरली जब ग्रुप कोहेसिव भी हो जाता है तो ओवरऑल ग्रुप के पास जो है वो अल्टरनेटिव्स कम हो जाते हैं बिकॉज वी आर थिंकिंग ऑन द सेम लाइन. सो देयर आर सम पॉजिटिव एंड नेगेटिव फैक्टर्स एसोसिएटेड विद ग्रुप कोहेसिवनेस. नाउ विल बी टॉकिंग अबाउट द इन्फ्लुएंस ऑफ ग्रुप ऑन इंडिविजुअल बिहेवियर एंड इन दिस डायमेंशन वी विल बी टॉकिंग अबाउट 3 फैक्टर्स. One is social facilitation, second is social loafing, and the third is de-individuation. In today's lecture, we will be talking about social facilitation और जो अगले 2 factors हैं उनका next lecture में जिक्र करेंगे. So, what is social facilitation? Social facilitation से मुराद ये है कि हमारी performance जो है वो generally increase हो जाती है, enhance हो जाती है when we are working with other people, when we are in the presence of other people. As compared to that, social loafing means that the activity or performance depends on when we are a part of a large group and we are performing on the behalf of that group and we become a part of actually that performers. And de-individuation usually occurs when there is a large group, a kind of crowd, and that is anonymous or responsibility किसी की नहीं होती, whatever behavior they are doing at that moment and whatever behavior they are demonstrating at that moment. So usually at this time there is a greater chance that people will be demonstrating their sexual and aggressive impulses more frequently because it is usually anonymous और वो किसी की responsibility नहीं होती. So let's today talk about social facilitation and that is the impact of group on the performance of individual. So what is social facilitation? Social facilitation means the enhancement of dominant responses due to the presence of others. अब ये dominant responses क्या होते हैं ये आगे चल के देखेंगे. The first psychological experiment in social psychology, as I have mentioned before in one of the lectures, जो कि बड़े शुरू में वो lecture मैंने दिया था, that experiment was conducted in 1897 and that was conducted by Norman Triplett. Norman Triplett was interested in investigating whether the performance of people increase in the presence of other people or it deteriorates. So he found out when cyclists were having race with other cyclists, then their performance was increased just because other people were present there. So the presence of others enhances the speed with which people perform simple tasks, but inhibits task efficiency in more complex tasks, and that was shown by Alpert in 1920 and Travis in 1925. So after Norman Triplett's experiments, the first quarter of 20th century concentrated on whether the effect of social facilitation is equal if the work is complex and the work is simple. So they found out that the presence of others will facilitate the speed with which people perform when the task is simple. As compared to that, if the task is complex, then the person's efficiency will be deteriorated. तो अब ये दो situations हमें नजर आती हैं कि it is not always that presence of other people will facilitate our performance, but actually ये भी हो सकता है कि हमारी जो लोगों की मौजूदगी की वजह से हमारी performance जो है वो inhibit हो जाए. And that has also been observed in animals. For example, one of the study on animals was conducted by Chen in 1937, and that has been demonstrated through experiments that social facilitation was found in ants, cockroaches, fish and insects also. So this is very interesting कि जो same kind of behavior you will observe in humans and non-humans. आगे चल के इसके बारे में मज़ीद बात करते हैं. So what are the explanations of social facilitation effects? Different explanations have been presented by researchers. One of them is drive theory, and the second one is evaluation apprehension, and the third is distraction conflict theory, and the fourth one is mere exposure. In fact, drive theory ही को बाज़-औक़ात ये कहा जाता है कि बाकी तीन explanations जो हैं वो उसी को explain कर रही हैं. So let's first see what is drive theory. Drive theory of social facilitation was presented by Zains in 1965. एक बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग बात है कि ये जो Zains है असल में ये जब हम पढ़ते हैं तो इसको ज़ेजोंग लगता है और most of the students prefer studying it that way, लेकिन इसकी साइंस की तरह से इसकी जो प्रोनंसिएशन है जिस तरह से हम वर्ड साइंस कहते हैं उसी तरह से ये Zains है, लेकिन मोस्ट ऑफ द स्टूडेंट्स एंड टीचर्स दे वुड प्रेफर ज़ेजोंग, तो इसीलिए हम भी कभी इसको ज़ेजोंग पढ़ लेते हैं, कभी Zains पढ़ लेते हैं, बिकॉज दैट इज़ नॉट एन इंग्लिश नेम. So what Zains said that the mere presence of others increases physiological arousal. जब दूसरे लोग मौजूद होते हैं तो सिर्फ उनकी प्रेजेंस से ही फिजिकल अराउजल पैदा हो जाता है और फिजिकल अराउजल देन इज लिंक्ड विद योर परफॉर्मेंस. So he talks about a number of propositions. The first proposition is when we are with other people, when other people are present with us, then we have an increase in our physical arousal. और ये जो other people है उससे मुराद people of our own species, and he calls them conspecifics. Conspecifics are those who belong to our species. जैसे कि human beings जो हैं they will be more affected when human beings are present. As compared to that, animals will be affected by their own species और उनकी performance जो है वो उससे determine होगी. So the first thing is that our performance is affected by the presence of other people who belong to our own species, and the second thing is that it increases the tendency to make a dominant response. When other people are present, तो हमारी ये tendency होती है कि we will be likely to perform better, but on the dominant responses. And dominant responses से मुराद ये है कि learned responses. जो काम हमें अच्छी तरह से आता है जब लोग मौजूद होते हैं, so we are more efficient and we are performing in a better way on that task. So if the response is correct, it leads to social facilitation, that it enhances our performance. As compared to that, if response is incorrect, then it leads to inhibition. So that is the explanation of inhibition and facilitation of in case of simple and complex tasks. और ये कहा जाता है कि when you are highly skilled in some kind of work and that is a dominant response, then there is a chance of social facilitation. As compared to that, if you are unskilled and if you are not familiar with the task, then your performance deteriorates in front of other people, unless आप उसके बारे में आपने उसको मेमोराइज ना किया हो. जैसे जनरली ये कहा जाता है कि अगर सिंपल किस्म के टास्क हैं, somebody is coming on stage and we are clapping, तो this is a very simple task and जब ज़्यादा लोगों के साथ हम मौजूद होंगे तो हमारी क्लैप्स हाई होंगी, because we become a part of group और हम उसी तरीके से बिहेव कर रहे हैं. लेकिन if we are doing some complex mathematical task or work, या हम कोई ऐसा क्विज हल कर रहे हैं जिसमें कोई मेज़ एक्सपेरिमेंट है और भूल भुलैया हैं, तो फिर उस वक्त चांसेस हैं कि हम उसमें गलतियां ज़्यादा कर सकते हैं इफ अदर पीपल आर प्रेजेंट. लेकिन अगर ये हो कि वो हमने बहुत मेमोराइज किया है एंड इवन इफ द टास्क इज़ डिफ़िकल्ट, still we can perform better in presence of other people provided we are very sure about that. और अगर जो है वो complex task जो है वो unfamiliar है, difficult लग रहा है, तो then we are in a state of arousal and that state of arousal will inhibit your performance. ये एक diagram देखिए, इसमें आपको यही वाला model जो है वो that has been illustrated. So when people are present, then you experience arousal, and then that experience of arousal lead to dominant response, whether it is learned or unlearned. So if it is a dominant response is correct, then it will lead to social facilitation. The presence of other people will actually enhance your performance. As compared to that, if that dominant response is wrong and you are not comfortable with that, then social inhibition occurs, that your performance will be deteriorated. Now I'll be talking about some more researches that have been conducted as far as social facilitation and drive theory is concerned. Two separate meta-analyses of more than 300 experiments involving more than 25,000 participants confirmed this drive theory and conclusions that were drawn by science. और ये research meta-analysis की जो two meta-analyses हैं, they were conducted by Bond and Titus in 1983 and Guerin in 1986. So this shows that the findings that have been demonstrated by science, they were quite valid and reliable, क्योंकि वो इतने ज़्यादा participants के साथ we have obtained the same results. I would now like to quote another study, and that was conducted by Michaels et al. In 1982. इस स्टडी में क्या किया गया कि that was a study of actually pool players in a group in a college student union. अब क्या किया गया कि first when students were doing some task and that task was shooting, कि वो कैसा जो है उनका निशाना कैसा है, और उसके लिए वो तैयारी कर रहे थे students. अब those students who demonstrated higher average and those students who were actually demonstrating like below average, तो उन groups को identify कर लिया गया. So those students were selected who were demonstrating this behavior in a very good way, and they were considered by the people who were actually selecting them as having above average performance. और उसके बाद दूसरा group जो था, they were having below average performance in shooting. अब at that time when they were demonstrating this behavior, then none of the observer was present. वो एक नेचुरल एक्टिविटी थी, वो प्रैक्टिस कर रहे हैं और उसको कर देख लिया कि कौन अच्छा परफॉर्म कर रहे हैं और कौन जो है वो बिलो एवरेज परफॉर्म कर रहे हैं. द पर्पस वाज दैट इफ ऑब्जर्वर्स आर प्रेजेंट एट दैट टाइम, तो वो सेकंड टाइम जो है उसमें ऑब्जर्वर्स जब आप लाते हैं तो फिर वो बात सही नहीं रहती, बिकॉज ऑब्जर्वर्स की प्रेजेंस जो है दैट इज एक्चुअली इंडिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल, और इंडिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल पहली कंडीशन में आप नहीं ला सकते थे. एंड देन व्हाट हैपेंड आफ्टर द सिलेक्शन ऑफ दोज स्टूडेंट्स, they were asked to perform, or there were 4 confederates who actually walked up there and they were closely watching them. And now this is the effect of other people being present at that scenario. So the results showed that good players' accuracy in making shots increased from 71% to 80%, while that of poor performers deteriorated from 36 to 25. So that is the difference that was created by the mere presence of other people. So this study has also been conducted with animals. Like मैंने पहले ये कहा था कि Chen has shown that the same effect has been found in animals. So science actually conducted one study with cockroaches on simple and complex tasks. और simple और complex tasks किस तरह के थे कि cockroaches की जो speed थी वो check की गई एक सीधे रास्ते पर और एक मेज में भूल भुलैयों में जो थी वो complex किस्म का task ये दे दिया गया कि उसमें से गुजर के उनकी स्पीड जो है वो चेक की जा रही है. एंड देन देयर वाज अनदर कंडीशन दैट ईदर कॉकरोच वाज अलोन or in the presence of a gallery of other cockroaches. So it was seen that cockroaches performed better in the presence of other people when the task was simple. As compared to that, when task was complex, then cockroaches performed badly or their performance deteriorated in the presence of other people. So it depends how confident we are in the work that we are demonstrated at that moment. The next theory is evaluation apprehension, and some theorists claim that it is not only the presence of other people, but it is actually because we are thinking that we are evaluated by other people that makes the difference in our performance, and that decides whether our performance will be socially and facilitated or inhibited. So the thing is that we are concerned over being judged by others, and that was shown by Cottrell in 1972. And then Cottrell et al. Conducted one experiment, and that experiment was conducted in 1968. अब वो experiment क्या था कि there were three conditions. एक condition वो थी जिसमें कि the participant was working alone, and in the other condition participant was working with other people present in the lab doing the same kind of task. And the third condition was when participant was working with other subjects who were blindfolded, उनको कोई पट्टी वगैरह बांधी हुई थी, और ये देखा गया कि किस कंडीशन में परफॉर्मेंस जो है वो बेहतर होंगी. तो ये देखा गया कि when people were present with other people, their performance increased. So that showed the impact of social facilitation. So their performance had the advantage of having people around them. As compared to that, blindfolded participants showed no social facilitation even though others were present. तो जब उनको पता था कि बाकी लोग जो हैं वो मौजूद हैं, but blindfolded जो subjects थे वो उनको देख नहीं सकते थे. So when other people were present and they were blindfolded, then the participants were not affected by that, because what happened कि blindfolded participants could not evaluate them. They were present there, but they could not evaluate them. And from this study we come to know that it is not only mere presence which is effective, क्योंकि वहाँ पे वो लोग तो मौजूद थे जो blindfolded थे, but they could not evaluate you. So because of that, the performance was not facilitated by their presence. So this shows that mere presence is not enough. The next theory is distraction conflict explanation. Some researchers have pointed out that when you are thinking that you will be evaluated by other people, or maybe you will be evaluated negatively, तो फिर आप इस वजह से ज़्यादा आपकी परफॉर्मेंस या तो डिटीरियोरेट करती हैं या फैसिलिटेट होती हैं, बिकॉज यू थिंक कि आपकी वैल्यूएशन जो है वो बाकी लोग कर रहे हैं. अब सवाल ये पैदा होता है कि दिस फिनोमेना हैज़ आल्सो बीन ऑब्जर्व्ड इन केस ऑफ एनिमल्स, इंसेक्ट्स. तो क्या एनिमल्स भी ये सोचते हैं कि दे विल बी इवैल्यूएटेड नेगेटिवली बाय अदर्स? दिस प्रोबेबली कुड नॉट बी द पॉसिबल एक्सप्लेनेशन. तो इसकी वजह से रिसर्चर्स हैज़ पॉइंटेड आउट टुवर्ड एन अदर explanation, and that is distraction conflict explanation. What is that? Heightened arousal occurs due to conflict between the task at hand and attending to others in the immediate surroundings, and that has been shown by Barron in 1986, that when you are doing some task, then your attention is diverted between the task you are doing and the presence of other people, and because of that there is heightened arousal. You are aroused physically because you have to concentrate on two things. One is presence of other people, and the other is your task that you are performing at that moment. And then it has also been shown that it was found in animals. And the second thing was that it was found when that presence of others was people, यानी जो लोग मौजूद थे they were people, and when they were other things, जैसे कि लोगों की मौजूदगी ही सिर्फ जो है वो सोशल फैसिलिटेशन और इनहिबिशन का बायस नहीं बनती, कुछ और फैक्टर्स भी बनते हैं. सो इट कैन आल्सो एक्सप्लेन सोशल एज वेल एज नॉन सोशल डिस्ट्रैक्शंस. फॉर एग्जांपल लाउड नॉइसेस और फ्लैशिंग लाइट्स. सम टाइम हमारी परफॉर्मेंस जो है इनकी वजह से बढ़ जाती है, देन इट इज सोशल फैसिलिटेशन, और सम टाइम हमारी परफॉर्मेंस जो है वो डिटीरियोरेट कर जाती है. अब ये जो सारा एक प्रोसीजर है दैट हैज़ बीन defined and illustrated in a diagram which you can see now. This is in fact distraction conflict theory that has been illustrated here. So what happens that when people are present or some novel stimuli is present there, then you are distracted because कोई शख्स भी मौजूद है या कोई लाइट ज़्यादा है, साउंड्स बाहर से आ रही हैं, and you are concentrating on your task also. Then what happen? You have an attentional conflict. कि किस पर आप तवज्जो ज़्यादा मरकूज़ करें, एंड देन यू आर इन हाइटेंड स्टेट एंड हाइटेंड अराउजल. जब ये हाइटेंड अराउजल होता है, इट कुड एनहांस योर डोमिनेंट रेस्पॉन्स, एंड इफ दैट डोमिनेंट रेस्पॉन्स इज करेक्ट, देन योर परफॉर्मेंस इज एनहांस्ड. एज कम्पेयर टू दैट, इफ दैट डोमिनेंट रेस्पॉन्स इज इनकरेक्ट, तो फिर आपकी परफॉर्मेंस जो है वो डिटीरियोरेट हो जाती है. So researchers have explained that actually this is due to distraction and conflict, whether you should concentrate on your work or you should look on the people who are present there, and that determines your physical arousal, and because of that physical arousal, your performance is either enhanced or deteriorated. And the final explanation is just mere presence is enough. ये पहले भी हमने इसकी बात की है, अब separately इसका जिक्र इसलिए कर रहे हैं कि यहाँ पे मैं एक experiment का जिक्र करना चाहूँगी. Science condensed that mere presence of others can produce some arousal. यानी ज़रूरी नहीं है कि they will be evaluating you और कुछ आपको ये लग रहा हो कि negative या positive evaluation होगी. Just if they are present, they are not interacting with you, even then it could have an effect. And it was seen in one experiment which was conducted by Goldman in 1967 that people's color perceptions are stronger when they make judgments with others' presence. जब बाकी लोग मौजूद होते हैं तो आपकी जो कलर परसेप्शंस हैं इन दिस एक्सपेरिमेंट दे वर इम्प्रूव्ड. तो सिर्फ लोगों के मौजूद होने से, ऑल्दो दे वर नॉट इंटरेक्टिंग विद ईच अदर. सिमिलरली इट हैज़ बीन सीन दैट मोस्ट जॉगर्स आर एनर्जाइज्ड व्हेन जॉगिंग विद अदर्स, इवन विदाउट एनी कॉम्पिटिशन. जब हम सुबह के वक्त के शाम को पार्क में देखते हैं कि बाकी लोग भी जॉगिंग कर रहे हैं, तो आमतौर पर people feel more energized because other people are present there doing the same act. और इसी वजह से ये देखा गया है कि आजकल जो है वो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में एक ट्रेंड है ओपन ऑफिस प्लान्स का. और वो ओपन ऑफिस प्लान्स क्या हैं कि rather people being allotting separate offices, एक बड़ी खुली स्पेस पर उनको पार्टीशन कर दी जाती है और डिफरेंट कैबिन्स बना दिए जाते हैं, और वो पार्टीशन भी लो होती है, बहुत ऊंची नहीं होती, so that people are aware of the presence of other people. So it means that if you are aware of the presence of other people, that mere presence could facilitate your performance, and on the other hand, sometime it could deteriorate your performance. Now let's conduct a small activity, and this activity is about whether you can recognize what is a group or not. एक situations different आपको बताऊंगी और उन situations में आपने देखना है कि आप ग्रुप को रिकॉग्नाइज कर सकते हैं कि नहीं. So let's see on these examples. One is that audience in a large auditorium. Second is a family eating dinner together. Third is all members of the Rotary Club. Fourth is residents of the same dorm. Fifth is members of a cricket team. Sixth is a construction crew building a highway. Seventh is people riding an elevator together. Eighth is acquaintances standing in line for tickets. And then all citizens of Pakistan is the ninth one. 10th, all people in cars waiting to pay their tolls at motorway. 11th is a mob of protesters at a demonstration. 12th and final example is two strangers speaking on the telephone. अब इन एग्जांपल्स में देखिए कि कौन सा जो है, कौन सी मिसाल या कौन से लोग जो हैं दे वुड सेटिस्फाई द क्राइटेरिया ऑफ बीइंग अ ग्रुप। तो हमने ग्रुप की डेफिनेशन क्या की थी कि दे शुड बी इंटरैक्टिंग एंड दे शुड बी डिपेंडिंग ऑन ईच अदर। तो इंटरडिपेंडेंस होनी चाहिए और इंटरैक्शन होना चाहिए। तो आपने भी कुछ अंदाज़ा लगा लिया होगा। आई टेल यू द राइट आंसर दैट द सेकेंड, फिफ्थ एंड सिक्स्थ वंस will be considered groups because they are satisfying that criteria of being a group, and that is that they are interacting with each other and they are dependent on each other. और वो second क्या है? A family eating dinner together, then members of a cricket team, and then the construction crew building a highway. इसके अलावा जो मिसालें हैं उसमें either people are not dependent on each other or they are not interacting with each other. तो ये तो था आज का लेक्चर। अब इसको रिव्यू करते हैं कि व्हाट वी हैव स्टडीड टुडे। टुडे वी स्टार्टेड अ न्यू टॉपिक एंड दैट इज ग्रुप बिहेवियर, एंड वी डिस्कस दैट टू आर मोर पीपल हु इंटरैक्ट विद वन अनदर एंड दे हैव शेयर्ड कॉमन गोल्स, दे आर डिपेंडेंट ऑन ईच अदर, दे आर इंटरैक्टिंग विद ईच अदर, दे आर कॉल्ड ग्रुप्स. And then we talked about several features of group. One is social norms, second is social roles, third is social status, and the fourth one is cohesiveness. Social norms जो हैं, they could be about anything, like some groups have social norm about how they should be dressed up. Some people and some groups have a social norm of about how people should be thinking और उनका behavior कैसा होना चाहिए. जैसे बाज़ organizations ये कहती हैं कि यहाँ पे स्मोकिंग जो है वो अलाउड नहीं है. तो इस तरह डिपेंड करता है कि व्हाट आर द सोशल नॉर्म्स ऑफ अ ग्रुप. सोशल नॉर्म्स आर रिलेटेड विद ग्रुप प्रोडक्टिविटी एंड दे रिड्यूस डेविएंस इन अ ग्रुप एंड दे इंक्रीज कन्फर्मिटी ऑफ द मेंबर्स. देन सोशल रोल्स आते हैं. सोशल रोल्स आर यूजुअली डिफाइंड आर इवॉल्व्ड व्हेन पीपल अटेंड अ ग्रुप, व्हेन दे बिकम मेंबर ऑफ अ ग्रुप, एंड समटाइम पीपल ब्रिंग देयर प्रीवियस रोल्स इनटू द न्यू ग्रुप. Social status जो है that is determined by the distribution of power in the members of that group. और social status जो है ये determine करता है कि वो शख्स कैसे behave करेगा, and that usually can be seen through visible and non-visible gestures. और उसके अलावा ये भी देखा गया है कि social जो status पे जो high लोग होते हैं, high ranking people होते हैं, they really enjoy that, they are high in self-esteem, they are more successful, but at the same time they are exposed to more harsh comments when the decisions which are made by them they go wrong. And then we talked about group influences on individual, and we talked about three things: social facilitation, social loafing and de-individuation. आज हमने सिर्फ social facilitation की बात की थी, and we talked about different explanations of social facilitation effects. One of them was drive theory, and that was presented by Zeiss कि जब हम लोगों की presence में होते हैं तो we are in a state of physical arousal, and that physical arousal determine whether we will be performing in a good way or in a bad way, and that is also determined by the complexity of the task. And then we also talked about evaluation apprehension, that usually we have this apprehension that we will be evaluated by the people negatively or positively, and that is affecting our performance in a group. And then distraction conflict theory stated that actually this is the conflict between a concentration on either the task or people who are present there, and that determines what will be our performance. And then finally we talk about mere presence is enough sometime to inhibit or increase your performance. या दूसरे लफ्ज़ों में सोशली फैसिलिटेट आपको करेगी या नहीं करेगी दूसरे लोगों की प्रेजेंस. अगले लेक्चर में हम बाकी दो एलिमेंट्स के बारे में बात करेंगे और वो है सोशल लोफिंग एंड डी इंडिविजुएशन. अगले लेक्चर तक के लिए अल्लाह हाफिज़. Assalamu alaikum students. Today we will be studying lecture number 42 on social psychology. आपको पता है कि सबसे पहले हम पिछला लेक्चर रिव्यू करते होते हैं और उसके बाद आगे चलते हैं. So let's first review the previous lecture. The previous lecture was about group behavior and we talked about group decisions and group think. सबसे पहले group decisions की बात करते हैं. A number of studies have shown that when people become a part of a group and then decisions are made, then they tend to be riskier in their decisions. यानी वो ज़्यादा risk लेना पसंद करते हैं. And then some other studies showed that it is not always that people make riskier decisions when they are combined in a group. और जब वो group का फैसला होता है, sometimes they become more cautious. ये जो एक risky decisions लेने वाली बात थी, initially it was called risky shift. यानी they shift to riskier decisions. So what happens? Why people sometimes become more risky and sometimes they become more conscious or cautious while they are deciding about some issue? तो इसकी वजाहत जो है वो ग्रुप पोलराइजेशन के कॉन्सेप्ट से होती है कि एक्चुअली इट इज़ नॉट दैट पीपल डिसाइड in a risky way or they become more cautious. Actually what happens when they decide in a group, then there is a kind of polarization that interplays. Polarization क्या होती है कि they already are having some attitude and then they are polarized in their decision.